Hey everyone, today is Wednesday, July 27th. It is 3:30 p.m. and the temperature right now is around 26 degrees Celsius. And that was Ossington Station I was just in. And this here is Ossington Avenue, and there's a look to the north. And just south of here is Bloor Street West. And for this one, I'll be heading south down Ossington Avenue. And then when I get to Harbord Street, I'll walk east and I'll walk along the entire length of Harbord Street. And I think that's around 2 kilometers or so. And I'm not sure if I'll continue east along Hoskin over to Queen's Park or if I'll head north up Spadina to Spadina Station from there. I didn't really think through the ending of this one. And there's a look east along Bloor. And a look to the west. And there's the 63A Ossington bus. That'll eventually be making its way all the way north up to Eglinton West Station. Which in a year from now I think we'll be calling Cedarvale Station as it's being renamed. And this is actually revisiting a walk I did back in October of 2020. I think that was the first time I did a walk along the entire length of Harbord. And I don't think I've done one that goes the entire way since then. Harbord Street is coming up just to the south of here. And the neighborhood just on the left is known as Bickford Park. There goes another 63 Ossington bus. So then we'll be heading down into Liberty Village. The bus frequency on Ossington seems to be decent, although I remember one night I got off at Ossington Station because there was a subway stoppage. I decided just to take that south, and I ended up waiting a good 25 minutes for the bus. I don't know if that was an anomaly or not. There's a night bus as well, the 363. There's a really nice older home with a commercial storefront on the corner. There's a look along a laneway. Harbord Street is known for its laneways. And there's one in particular called Cross Street that features a lot of interesting street art. kind of an interesting, rather narrow and set back home. It's a lot shorter than the homes right next to it. It would still probably sell for well over $1 million. This is the western end of Harbord Street. And sadly, there's a ghost bike over on the southeast corner. And I'm now heading east along the north side of Harbord Street. That looks like the 94 Wellesley bus rolls through here. At least that's what I think the 94 is. There's a structure that wasn't here the last time I walked through. I was just looking up that old video on my way over, and I think I used this as the thumbnail. And there's a lot of really nice tree-lined residential streets running through here. They got the old New Moon Variety Store sign. It's worth noting that this stretch is not Harbord Village. Harbord Village starts to the east of here, and that runs between Bathurst and Spadina. That's probably the most well-known stretch of Harbord. This is generally considered to be the upper end of Little Italy. There's a look up a laneway home. And this is Shaw Street. A street that you'll count more bicycles going by than cars if you were to stand here and count all day. Speaking of which, I think it got its bicycle track installed back in 1979. And if you're heading east-west along here, even though the Bloor Street bike lanes are most likely a lot more popular, I think this is a nicer ride. Although the bike lanes can be a bit chewed up in some spots. I came along here yesterday on my e-scooter during a live stream. I think this building's got a fresh coat of paint on it. Kadampa Buddhist Temple is to the north here. There's the cafe, Olivia's Garden. is Montrose Avenue. Harbord never seems to have high volumes of vehicle or pedestrian activity. Oh, that person rode their bike/scooter right through a red light. I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to take that type of device into the bike lane. There's a barber shop. And I remember researching for this next stretch on the initial walk I did along here. This used to be an overpass that heads over the old Garrison Creek that was eventually buried. I think that was done in the 20s, and this part here is all that remains of the overpass. And we've got a couple of parks here on the south side. Art Eggleton Park. And I think this is just called Bickford Park to the north. We'll find out in a second when I walk by the sign. And this is Grace Street. And to the north at Bloor, Grace Street will turn into Christie Street. And parallel to Harbord, east of Christie, you'll be in Koreatown. Although it wasn't always Koreatown at one point. It was called Little Hungary, I think, through the 60s. And from the 20s to 60s, this area had a rather large Portuguese and Hungarian population. It was mostly built up in the late 1800s, and it was initially kind of an upper class neighborhood. And eventually it kind of devolved into what were considered to be slums. And then there was a wave of new people coming into the area and building it back up again, including a lot of younger professionals returning to the city. This is Clinton Street. That place is called Forest Hill Real Estate Brokerage. We are nowhere near Forest Hill. That is well to the north and east of here. I'm sure that's just a branch office of theirs. And this is Rosie Lenko Lane. If I owned a unit that backed onto one of those laneways, I would definitely let someone color it with art. This place on the left is called the Bike Joint, but it is a restaurant. And we're here at Manning Avenue. That was a restaurant that had a mannequin out with John Tory dining in the patio, and I think the other one was the city's top doctor. I think they were mocking the COVID restrictions. I remember seeing that on a live stream. And on the left is Harbord Collegiate. And that dates back to the 1890s. I think there's a population of around 1,100 students. We'll be going by a much bigger school pretty soon, Central Tech. Here's Euclid Avenue. And a lot of these streets are just one-way streets. And they often change their direction as an attempt to prevent through traffic. And this next one's probably the most well-known, that is Palmerston Boulevard. And it is particularly nice in between College, which is just to the south of here, and Bloor, just to the north. It's got these really nice old-style street lamps. You won't find these on too many streets in the city. Another street that has them is Chestnut Park in Rosedale. I'm struggling to think of any others. And coming up is Bathurst Street and a block. This is Markham Street. This will take you up through the old Mervish Village. Which is currently undergoing a massive redevelopment. And once I cross over Bathurst, we'll be into downtown and into Harbord Village. And just up here on the left is Central Tech. That's a big school that goes back to 1915. It's made a number of appearances in different movies over the years. I think Good Will Hunting is the most famous one that's to use it. I remember coming by here a long time ago and there was a car lodged into the front of this convenience store. Just to the north of here is Bathurst Station. That's where this 511 Bathurst streetcar is heading. And north of there, you'll have to catch a bus. And it will go south all the way down to Exhibition Place. There's a look over at Central Tech. And we have a Krispy Kreme. House of tea and board games. It looks like they have a nice patio on the back. And here is Croft Street. And maybe this is due for an updated walk. And here's an interesting shop. Good for her. We're packing more than summer heat. Come inside and see what's hot. Welcome. Masks are still required. We have extras if you need one. Am I, though? This is Borden Street. There's a nice big patio. I've never had it myself, but I've heard people rave about this place, Harbord Fish and Chips. Special cod fish and chips, $13.99. There's Brunswick Avenue. Why does this big truck need to go so far into the intersection? Now I gotta make sure there's no cyclists coming up behind me. Here's an interesting place, the Rock Store. I've heard people joke that it was a front. So I think today this stands as a fairly diverse neighborhood. Although I think initially it was primarily Jewish, or at least the initial wave of immigrants here were Jewish. There's one of the remaining downtown gas bars. He's just ringing his bell the whole way along Harbord. I think he's trying to prevent one of these cars from springing their door open. And the neighborhood to the north of here is known as the Annex. A lot of people refer to Harbord Village as the South Annex. And I think even the BIA calls it that on their website. I remember seeing that. Either the BIA or the Residents Association. There's the Almond Butterfly. That's a popular bakery. And I think I might have said earlier Harbord ends at Spadina. It actually ends at St. George and it becomes Hoskin after that. So I'll continue east along Harbord here, at least until we get to Hoskin or St. George. Well, I guess that's true as well. It would be until Hoskin. And just to the north of here is Spadina Station. There's University of Toronto graduate housing. Someone locked up their e-scooter. And this will be Huron Street. There's Robarts Library. And there's been a new addition to the library. And there's also cherry blossom trees along that side of Robarts. There's the Ramsey Wright, I want to say laboratories, but in Canada we say laboratory. There you can see the Yorkville skyline peeking out. And at this next intersection, Harbord Street comes to an end. There's a guy riding his bike on the sidewalk despite a bike lane being right there. That's what I like to call a dick move. And this is always a really nice street to take a stroll on, St. George. And you can see the full hideousness of the library from over here. I think I'll just keep walking along Hoskin until we get to Queen's Park, and then I'll head up to Musuem Station. I'm going to record another walk right after this. Apparently they've been filming along here for several weeks now. And there's a lot of trucks up that street. If you know what production this is, fill me in the comments down below. There's a look over at some athletic fields. There's Trinity College. That gets my vote as one of the nicer, older buildings in the city. And I'll look south towards King's College Circle. And this is Wycliffe College on the right. It looks like there might be some kind of wardrobe on that truck there. It's a pretty impressive lighting rig. There goes a double-decker sightseeing bus. That tent is probably for the film crews. And across the street is Queen's Park. And I'll look south, and that'll become University Avenue, just south of College. And the Provincial Legislative Assembly is just behind me, off in that direction, but I'm going to head up into Musuem Station, which is just to the north of here. I think that same bus appeared at the start of the video I recorded for this morning. Or at least one with that same Harry Potter. Again, I want to say advertisement, but I know we say advertisement. Is that music coming from that ice cream truck? There's the old McLaughlin Planetarium on the left, right next to the Royal Ontario Museum. That is Emmanuel College. So to the north of here is Bloor Street. I'm going to be heading into Musuem Station here. This is Charles Street West, and that'll lead you through more of the University of Toronto. And it looks south with the CN Tower off in the distance. And it's down into what I think is probably the best of the downtown Toronto subway stations, at least in terms of its interior design. And the free transfer valid until 5:02 p.m. My train has arrived. So I hope you enjoyed this one.
Please stand clear of the doors.
It is time to go south. And let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there's links
Queen's Park Station
to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. And I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. All right. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.